Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Royal Ramble Episode 3, Special E3 Edition, as we just had 2 days full of press conferences. I can't speak today. First off, though, let me go around the room and introduce everybody. We got Roger to the left.
How's it going? Welcome.
All right, absolutely. We got Jeff straight across the table.
Hi-ho!
And literally directly to my right, off in the background, Sean, say something loud for the people.
Hello?
I hope that caught.
Did he go home? It sounds like he's in Connecticut now.
Close enough. So, yes, lot of news from E3. Most of it disappointing, but that's the course. I will say, as a whole, though, it's definitely been a more exciting E3 and more worth watching E3 than probably about the last 5 or 6 years. Any thoughts on that from you two?
That's not saying much, but it's better than rabies. Great.
Jeff, what about you? Any thoughts on that one?
Oh, what was the question?
I said it was a more interesting and more worth watching E3 than probably about the past 5 years. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, I didn't watch it.
You've heard most of the news, though. I mean, you gotta have thoughts.
That's different than watching, though.
All right, I'll give you that. So
I told you I wasn't going to be a part of this, mostly because it's not something I want to do anymore.
After going to a couple of them, you just lose your luster for it, huh?
No, it's just don't like hype trains.
Oh, choo-choo, brother.
Choo-choo.
It's that time of year. Okay, well, Roger, let's start with you on this one. Opening question. Anything you saw that got you excited? Anything you're looking forward to that you weren't already?
What got you wet?
Yeah, there you
Got
go.
me all hot and bothered. It was well, there's the obvious, it's like the good old-fashioned Fallout 4, but we'll do that later.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited for Record. An actual exclusive that I'm like, that looks interesting, and it's a whole new IP. Thank you for taking a chance on that.
For what?
Record.
Yeah. It's an Xbox One exclusive that's coming out. No real gameplay was kind of shown, but just the premise of the new IP and the design of it.
And it's some former Retro employees, too, from the Metroid Prime work. It's called Recore.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
If anybody over here, by the way, I should say that me and Sean are having a little issue with the mics over here. So basically, I'm wearing it until Sean has something really, really relevant to say. So if it sounds like I'm talking to myself, I'm probably answering Sean's questions. Just as a heads up.
Yes, Sean. This is Sean that exists. What do you say, Luke?
Look, let's not try to paint me like that yet, okay? I haven't proven crazy enough so far. Jeff, what about you? Anything pique your curiosity?
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm after the initial thing is, initial E3's worn off. I'm reluctantly excited about the Final Fantasy VII remake, Shenmue 3, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more excited now since I heard that the Final Fantasy VII is not going to be exactly the same. That's good.
Yeah, that's very good. I agree with that.
Other than that, I don't think I really saw anything that, made me jump up and down for joy. Not that I could think of off the top of my head. That's why I needed a list.
While you were talking about that, Sean was mentioning that every week we should have what got our dicks hard enough to cut glass every week in gaming.
I'm glad I could give you all that. that image.
I think for about the next 4 months, it's going to be Fallout 4 for Roger.
Yeah, yeah.
It is good
I'm
looking.
I'm excited for Fallout 4 because I'm now I know I'm going to get it on the Xbox One because they said that there's going to be mods for the
Oh,
console.
I guess
as
we're
well.
launching straight into this one. Yeah, we're just going straight into that. So yeah, they Bethesda did confirm that the Xbox One version of Fallout 4 will have mods, and they're working to get that same functionality on the PS4. So
Free mods, by the way.
free
Yeah,
mods,
free.
not paid.
Yeah, free mods.
The one hard rule they're going to be sticking to overall is, of course, as we all expected, no nudity and no license.
No, hold on.
Hmm?
They didn't say no nudity. They said they might allow it.
They said it would have to be run past Microsoft, as whether or not it will be allowed. Really, is what they denoted.
It's kind of like when your parents tell you maybe. It means no.
Yeah, it means no. But no licensed characters or weapons or anything like that, unless they can get authorization from that company. They may work it. If
I
it's a
just
really
hope
good
it's
mod,
not
they might
completely
ask
fucking
and see if they
watered
can get
down.
it. Mainly that was because since they're working so closely with Microsoft on this, I assume anybody who makes some kind of Halo mod will probably slip by and be allowed. But excuse me, as a whole, everything else is fair game. I don't know how well like graphics editing and things like that will go, but it's all on the table, and it's apparently up to the creativity of all the people who've been making mods for so long. With the mod tools that they'll be giving out, that won't be available till early 2016, so we'll have a few months to play the game vanilla before we start seeing all the crazy shit. So
It might not be bad. Get used to it before.
yeah, pretty much. So, Roger, your thoughts on the consoles getting mods? This has been attempted a couple of times before, but it really hasn't gone over well. So, this seems to be a more dedicated experience for it.
Oh man, it's fantastic. I mean, to finally be able to say, I want to do things in my game different from how it was made, that the PC has been able to do for years. Now, if you're on Xbox, you get to enjoy that freedom of, maybe I want to play as Elvis. Fuck it. It's fine. You can play as Elvis. You want to make a Showgirls mod? Do it. Have your Showgirls storyline. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. So, I applaud them for doing it. I mean, we'll see how it works if people stress it so much that it slows the game down. I don't know. I'm sure that'll happen with some mods, but only time will tell on that front.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna download enough mods to break your game.
Burn out the fucking processor on the Xbone. The
PCMR is gonna fucking cry foul about it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean had asked which previous games had done it. I can't remember exactly which one. I think it might have been Unreal Tournament 3, but one of the Unreal Tournaments previously released on console had attempted to bring the mod experience over to answer that question. And I'm going to pass this off to Sean for a second because he had an interesting thought about whether or not it'll stress the console.
This is like the best way we could have done this.
I don't think it'll be an issue for consoles, like stressing out, because there's probably going to be a lot more filtering of programs and types of mods. Like they're going to probably go through with a fine-tooth comb, because it'll be the first time that they've actually done this as a big grand gesture. So there'll probably be a lot of.
I don't see it going very well right away.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna
be a nightmare.
It's
a big nightmare.
It's gonna stumble out the gate, that's for sure. But we'll
Something
see
about hell on earth.
But we'll see if they have to put this horse down.
Good answer.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, I echo a lot of that sentiment. It's probably going to be a lot more heavily regulated, I think would be the word, than the Wild West of the PC, so to speak. But I do like that they're being open about a lot of things. It's not going to be strictly. It'll probably force modders to be a little bit more creative rather than just ripping assets, since any licensed characters are probably off the table as a whole. So maybe they'll get more creative with some. Yeah, no TARDIS in your Fallout 4. Exactly. I'm sorry. That's terrible. I should.
Does that make you kind of disappointed? Luke, to hear
Yeah,
that?
yeah, a little bit. But
So
yeah.
I'm guessing you would have to actually make it on the PC, and then it's just like one universal workshop rather than actually making it. Well, no, you couldn't do it on the bone, but
Yeah, it's gonna work that way. They'll be porting over mods that make it through the process, essentially.
kind of like how the community creations on WWE 2K15 work.
Yeah, something like that. Shout out. So that was definitely something I really wanted to talk about, and I'm glad we jumped into that almost immediately. So
You're welcome.
thank you, sir.
Wholeheartedly.
Thank you. All right.
I'm not going to take my leave.
Houses. I went to build my house.
Oh, you're still on that Fallout 4 thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought about it. Well, I mean, like, I was one
Do
of
you
those
want
guys that spent
Hearthfire
hours.
in Fallout?
I
Yeah.
just thought about spending like hours, like
Talking about the settlements.
getting those Nuka-Cola bottles and stuff put perfectly in your little apartment, and now you can actually design the apartment, and even more so with like the settlement itself. It's just really
No,
neat.
fuck that. I want to make my house out of Nuka-Cola bottles.
Oh, well, that's quite interesting. Yes.
It's the house that Love built.
Well, I guess so. Well, Sean wants to know if it's quantum Nuka-Cola bottles that you'd be using.
Oh, fuck that. That's swill.
Yes, it would be literally made of gold.
Why do I just piss in my mouth?
So Fallout 4, we got gameplay, and it looks way better than the trailer that we saw a few days ago. And yeah, I echo my sentiments from the first episode of this podcast. I'm actually surprisingly excited for a Bethesda game. It looks really good. We found out we'll be playing from before the actual apocalypse to into the apocalyptic wasteland. So we get a little taste of what life was like for this universe before everything.
I
went to
haven't
shit.
really looked too far into it. Is it going to, like, feature flashbacks, like, or
No,
is it
no,
going
no,
to
the
start
game-
and then go on?
Yeah, the game starts before the apocalypse, from what we saw in the little bit they gave us. And then you see the nuclear thing happen as you're going into the vault. And then,
I heard
skipped
your
ahead.
Traveler talks, too.
yes,
Yes, it
it
does.
talks. When you're in conversations now, it will not keep you in first person. You get to see your character talking during conversation now. So customization actually means a little something. It looks.
I didn't see a problem with it before. I mean, it was, personalized. It's like they were talking to me.
Yeah, true. The art style looks very stylized. It's really I would describe
It's
it
not
as
as
gorgeous.
muddy or as it's the future is colorful.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks very, very nice though. I did enjoy it.
Vibrant is the word I would use.
Vibrant, yes, very good. Not only speaking of conversations, not only do you get to see your character's face during them now, according to what I heard and saw, you can just walk away from any conversation. You're no longer trapped in them.
Dude, I was
Or you can shoot
I was
them in the
actually gonna
face.
I was actually gonna talk about that.
Yeah, which is fucking great. Somebody's annoying me. I don't have to casually and courteously greet them a goodbye before I shoot them in the dick. You know.
Give me all your caps. Well, I can't hear you walking away.
But that's it's definitely awesome. And the new dog companion looks very functional.
Dog meat
Yeah.
cannot die.
Yeah, cannot die. Looks very functional. Looks like it'll actually be useful, which is great. And no worries for all the animal lovers out there. He's there to the end, no question. Unless they
I'm
pull
sure that was a big question on people's lips when they heard about it. Like, okay, I like the aspect of a dog companion. Can it die? I don't care about anything else. I don't care what it can do. Can it die?
pretty
That
much.
companion
One
should be
stupid
able
I am
to
legend
die.
moment.
It should be able to, but only if you fuck up. Like, I don't want it predestined that dog's going to live or die. I want it to be like, well, you decided to walk into a place with 20 raiders. It's just you and your dog. Uh-oh, it fucking died. Like,
He
I
said
don't think it should have
predetermined.
any basis on combat,
Oh.
kind of like Last of Us, how Ellie didn't really get in the way or attract attention.
Or matter.
Do you remember
I'm
Dog
not.
Meat
I'm not.
from Fallout 3?
Yes.
I had that dog die.
Kind of.
And but there was some tense fights where I'm trying to protect the dog and keep it from dying, and it made them it put the urgency in the fight more so than if there was no dog. So I like the fact of it being there, but only if it can die because you fucked up.
Only if it matters, basically, for you.
God, that would make you feel like such an asshole, though.
Yeah, well, leave it at home. Abandon your dog and go to the waste if you need to, or take it with you and take the chance. It's up to you. It's your game.
Put them in a room full of
Nuka-Cola bottles.
full of meat.
So,
All right, boy, I'll be back in 3 days.
beyond that, before you guys get too far off on this subject, the customization looks pretty fucking stellar, to be honest. The actual character customization, you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you just grab pieces of the face and adjust them as necessary.
They
Pull them
have
in, put them out.
the
They've gone the Mario
crafting.
64 title screen menu way of customizing. Just yank and grab.
Oh yeah, but it looks really cool though how you can do it. Be man or woman,
got-
and you have a baby.
Yes.
They got the crafting system too. Don't
Yes, if
forget
you have a
that.
crafting system, you customize your weaponry and stuff. I'd like to see a little bit more from that, but it does look solid. It looks
Well, all that random loot you would find, and you're like, I have 12 toy cars. Like, what do I do with this? You can disassemble those into their basic components for all the shit in the world, and use that to make other things
now.
for
Here's my
yourself.
question: if I have
It
12,
would be kind of cool if it was like Dead Rising kind of crafting.
you just taping shit together. That's what I was gonna say. Can I use one of those toy cars without disassembling it as a silencer? Just shove it on the end of my gun.
I don't think it works like that in real life or in the game.
Maybe there'll be a mod for it. You don't know.
Yeah,
Shut up.
that's true.
Nuka-Cola
The
can
mods are there.
silencers.
Oh my god, that would be sick.
Absolutely. So, overall though, yeah, Fallout 4 looks really good. I'm trying not to spend too long on any one game here, even though we're gonna have a lot to talk about, just because
No,
of the
it's
sheer
okay.
amount of shit. So, Fallout.
This will be the Fallout 4 episode, and then next week we'll talk about Fallout 4. It's Fallout 4 month, everybody.
So that was at Bethesda's conference. There was some surprising.
Yes, that's all they said.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they showed other stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it was a Fallout 4 conference. That being said, though, before we get into the rest of the games that were shown there and other things we might be interested in or that looked good, I did want to talk for a couple of things about other things that were mentioned. Like the Xbox One is getting backwards compatibility after they told us no. Finally. In fact, preview members already have it. If you are a preview dashboard member, like Jeff and I, you already do have the backwards compatibility, and it's surprisingly pretty solid. No major issues or anything
Limited?
that I've seen. A little limited, yes, but no major overarching issues. And everything looks good, plays good. Takes a little bit to load the first time, but after that, just as fast as anything else on the system. And yeah, there's up to 100 titles already planned, and they're taking voting for more titles that the fans of Xbox 360 and Xbox One want to see being able to be moved over. There's a poll going on, should be still going on right now, for any title that you might be interested in getting to vote onto that list. So,
I need to do that later, by the way.
yeah, there's like 6 Call of Duty games in the top 10 right now, so there's that.
Like
So-
I told you, man, don't be surprised.
Who the fuck still wants to play Call of Duty 3?
Somebody?
I don't think people wanted to play it the first time around.
Look, it wasn't the best, but
Roger, what are your thoughts on this sudden backpedaling on backwards compatibility for Microsoft?
yeah, Roger.
Did Roger die?
Shit, sorry about that.
I think he did.
My shit was fucked up.
There he is.
I think you'll see the difference in the Xbox 360 sales. I think if the sales have started to drop that much, since they were still selling those consoles for a long time, that they're going to say, okay, finally, we'll put it on the Xbox One now. So people that have been saying like, oh, I have this huge library of 360 games, why do I give a fuck about the Xbox One? And now they have a reason to. And it's not going to hurt the 360 sales because, it's too late in that platform's lifetime.
Yeah, that's pretty succinct. I don't really have much to add to that. Functionally, it's a lot better than some previous attempts at backwards compatibility I've seen from both Microsoft and Sony, and best part is whatever it is that you're making backwards compatibility, you don't have to pay any more to get it over or anything like that. It's completely, if you own it, bam, install it, done, which is very, very nice.
It's gonna be nice with that new controller too.
That new controller that you're gonna have to sell your firstborn and write a blood contract to afford.
Do you know what the MSRP is on it?
I didn't look at the exact one. 150. 150. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's
Sean looked at
150.
it.
I think it's fully customizable though. Like,
Yeah,
It looks
Want it?
really good. It does.
I mean, I want it. I want it.
I have to put collateral on my car for it.
You gotta pull out
Wait,
another mortgage, right? Yeah, the new controller that was unveiled, and as we all said, it looks very good and very customizable. Is quite expensive for a controller. That'll probably be the deciding factor on how many actually get bought. But
Well, I mean,
Curious
like,
why it's so expensive.
how far you can customize it, but I mean, like, I imagine it's going to be more of the PC crowd buying it because it's going to work on your Windows computer, of course. And I want it mainly for my PC. Like, the fact that I can change everything, every button to how I want it, where I want it, and do the button maps however I want, yeah, I want that controller.
Definitely seems
hold on,
for the
hold on,
hardcore crowd.
hold on.
Okay, well, nobody's talking.
No, I meant Sean.
Yeah, you can have like over up to 250 like profiles for like your buttons, right? And like
That
sounds crazy.
there's a switch on the controller to you can have up to 2 active on any controller, so you can just flip a switch, and it'll be like, let's say you have yours like Southpaw, you just switch it to 2 when I hand it to you, and now you're a left-handed controller. Which, I mean, left-handed people who play good games left-handed should fucking probably be dragged out into an alley and shot in the mouth. But but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, there's a lot of different. There's like paddles in the back that can be
Yeah, I
like
was wondering what those are for.
that can be your like, instead of, you can change the trigger, one of the trigger you can change the triggers to not be hair triggers, to just be activated. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. You know how you can, if the triggers are pressure sensitive, like if you barely pull it, like you kind of pull your gun halfway up, and then you pull it down the rest of the way, and it'll fire the gun. The paddles will switch. You can use the paddles to switch that around, and actually you can use the
Well, that
paddles.
sounds nifty.
You can use the paddles on the back to be anything you want, like Roger was saying. There's 4 paddles, 2 on each side of the controller, and they can be A, B, X, Y, or RB, LB, or right trigger, left trigger. Even D-pad
So what
commands
you're
too.
saying is it's fully customizable.
Yeah.
Fully.
You can change it into a DualShock. You can
Not only
Unfold
that,
it out
will
and make it
do
in
your math
computer.
homework too.
You can, looks like you
spread
can switch
out,
out the
drive it
buttons.
off into the
You can do all
sunset.
sorts.
So yeah, new controller announcement. Very very interesting controller from Microsoft. And also at the Microsoft press conference, besides some games that they announced, they showed off some new interesting stuff with their HoloLens, which, from what I've read and what I hear, is actually as fully functional as you might think it is, minus a little field of view concerns, and it being a little front heavy, so you probably can't wear it as long as, not for a long session. But other than that, what they're showing appears to be, from what I understand, exactly what you get with that HoloLens. It's not being hyped up beyond what it's capable of at all, from what I'm seeing. They showed off Minecraft on the HoloLens, which not only can you just use that to make any surface your display while you're playing Minecraft, on your standard, basically how you'd look at your TV. You can also throw it up while you have it thrown up on the wall like that, and it's seeing your first person, the HoloLens. You can make it go 3D while it's still on the wall, which adds depth. It'll pull back into the wall and give you full depth into the wall, and you can peek around things and stuff like that, and get a better sense of depth. And then, of course, the show stealer on that part of it, you move it to any surface and put it into almost a God game view from up above, and it pulls the world up for you to see, and you can use your hands. You can stop using the controller and use your hands and pinch and move the world around. Focus on players that are in your world that you're playing with. You can even mark things for players to go find. It sets a beacon for them, and you move the whole thing around with your hands. And it looks pretty fantastic, and the people that I read up on the articles that played it while they were there said it's exactly what it looks like. Everything that they showed on stage they were able to do, and it worked exactly the same. So this could be, a lot of people have been focusing on VR, but this is kind of the first one to do a real world overlay VR that seems to be as functional as they're showing. Oh,
What do you look forward to this being used for?
me personally, or just in general?
Just you personally. I want to hear from everybody.
I would look forward to it being used for D&D campaigns. I think it would be the next logical step there beyond the gridded out boards and things that they already have. Now you just have a virtual one that's showing what's going on in your campaign, what you're doing. If they had some kind of networking way to do that across, 4 or 5 HoloLenses, and they show your virtual battles, turning in your quests there while you're still just straight up playing D&D, I think that'd be fucking amazing.
Jeff?
Dude, is there a specific list of what it would work with, or what?
Just
I don't know.
Just what you would like to see it work with. Like, what would you like to see it used for? Other than porn.
HoloLens porn, you'll never see us again.
God, I don't know, like maybe turn-based RPGs? I hadn't really thought about it.
Turn-based or
would be
strategy?
neat. Well, turn-based would still be neat too. Seeing like your actual party like on a surface, and you see them in 3D, basically, real-world style 3D, and your enemies, and the way the fighting works, it seemed like that would actually make sense and actually work well with it.
Could be interesting. I think it would also work for strategy RPGs for the other version turn-based, something like Final Fantasy Tactics or anything like that. You literally, pick up your units and drop them somewhere else, and all of that. That would be interesting to see as well.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to hand it to Sean so he can... Oh, you agree with the D&D thing? He doubles up on the D&D thing. That's what he would like to see with it.
I think tournaments would be awesome to see. If you could watch a tournament, like a Counter-Strike tournament or a Dota game, and you're watching that, and you get to see it, the whole top-down view in 3D on your table, and you hear the announcer going, and you can look and move around and see all the players, I think that'd be really neat to see.
So something like a
Esports
spectator
capacity.
mode for tournaments and things
Yes.
like that. That'd be interesting. I definitely...
I don't know if anybody... I can't remember. Did anyone say anything about, like, RTSs and shit?
That would probably follow along the same lines as the strategy RPGs in real time, and I would agree with that as well. To be
Like
this
war
group of
games, like mapping them
zerglings.
out and
Fuck over there.
moving shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting technology, and it seems to be one of the few that's actually functioning exactly as advertised, which is strange for this kind of stuff. Usually, it's a lot of hype. And
Well, let's not get lost in it. It still is hype.
yeah, it's still hype.
Have anything in our
It's
hands.
definitely still hype, but basically, it seems like they're not showing beyond their means of what it's capable of currently. Other than, like I said, the field of view concerns and it being a bit front heavy, and it would be a little painful after a while to wear something like that. It does seem like an actual
Did
possibility.
they give a release
of being
date
used.
for it, or are they still working
I think it's still
on
next
development?
year. I'm pretty sure it's still in dev, but I think they're shooting for next year at some point.
Very well.
Don't quote me on that.
I will.
I fucking hate both of you.
Coming to you first.
Coming from me first. Alright. And then we of course got nothing, as Nintendo said, on the NX, but they did let it slip, if they hadn't already let it slip, that it is some form of new dedicated gaming device. Now, they didn't say handheld, console, or something different, but the NX is for certain a dedicated gaming device of some sort. Which is interesting.
Would have been nice to get, like, a hint.
Yeah, they just released the new 3DS, and the Wii U's been doing a little better after last year, especially with the slew of games they threw at us to make the library strong enough to warrant the purchase beyond any kind of naysaying.
Yeah.
Yes, Sean, a slew of games. They threw a lot of shit that was quality at us, even if it wasn't everybody's, cup of tea. At least it worked.
What kind of console would you like to see out of Nintendo? Would you want it to be more like high definition competitor for like the Xbox or PlayStation, or kind of stay a little bit lower in hardware but have more emphasis on?
I think Jeff is probably like thinking the exact same thing I am, that we heard rumored a long time ago at this point.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for some kind of confirmation.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure that Nintendo's always had a strict motto of staying low key and just making things for fun. Well, not necessarily fun, but just not really being competitive on the market front. But
yeah, I agree, and definitely they're not. They one thing they like to do is keep costs down initially. Obviously, everything goes down in price eventually a little bit, but they like to not make it an arm and a leg, at least not too badly for the entry point for anything. So, do I see them trying to get on the level of like lower end PCs that the Xbox One and the PS4 are? Absolutely not. Do I want them to? Absolutely not. They do what they do.
If they were to just suddenly do that, it would seem like they wouldn't be focused on, core gaming. They would be mostly ports and and AAA titles and stuff. You probably wouldn't see any Mario or Zelda games.
Absolutely. It would almost seem like a signal of giving up from them.
Not really giving up, but by selling out.
Yeah, which is oftentimes looked at as the same thing. But yeah, I would absolutely like to see them keep doing different things. Despite people's aggressive stance against all this, they keep bringing new ideas to the table, and I like that. The Wii with the motion controls that ended up causing everybody to make motion controls, even if they sucked ass, was something different. The touchpad as the controller, and having that dual screen functionality on a home console, it works for a lot of stuff. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's makes your devs think in a different way, and that's why a lot of devs tend to not like developing for their consoles. Is they like third-party devs, I should say. They just want to port over what they've already done, and learning and trying to make use of a new technology that can do different things tends to that's they phrase it better and more nicer, but they just don't want to do the work on that a lot of the time. But then you had the DS come in and revolutionize the handheld genre and absolutely crush Sony right back out of the market. So in only 2 generations. So I mean, it works when devs get behind it, and they definitely have just a great selection of third-party support on the DS. If they could just figure out a way to get those devs interested in making Wii U games.
Well, I mean, it's hard when the problem they had with making games for the Wii U is that the sales weren't there. If you're going to spend so much money and time making a game and ends up with only selling 100,000 units, then you're losing money and your studio is going to shut down.
If you're looking at it from a AAA dev point, that's why indies have started migrating to the Wii U, though.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since indies are often still viewed a lot as, and we know this isn't true, but a lot of indie titles are still viewed as kiddie games like Nintendo games. It's the perfect audience. Shovel Knight, the perfect audience for Shovel Knight is the Wii U. You know?
I can see that.
So it's a matter of them putting the effort in, because Shovel Knight, I mean, I've said it before as an opinion piece, but I think Shovel Knight's success on the Wii U and the 3DS was a huge reason Nintendo suddenly opened its doors wide to the indie community. Approving Isaac Rebirth with absolutely no changes and all kinds of shit like that. Shovel Knight helped push units. It was a huge success for them.
I could see why it was.
So,
they were reluctant at first, though.
absolutely, but like they saw, hey, this is.
Do you
There's a
remember their
market here.
WiiWare in the past? Oh,
WiiWare
God.
was garbage, though, dude. Let's be honest.
Do you think they opened
I know,
the
that's what I'm
floodgates
saying.
because they felt like they needed more titles to drive people to it and get more of a games like Isaac and such is more like this console isn't just for kids. It's not just for your niece or nephew. It can be for you.
I think that's part of it, but I also think that from a console standpoint, for a lot of indie devs, it's the best place to go to get their games home because they're not trying to compete with AAA million-dollar games that are like, the yearly Call of Duties and things like that that are coming out on the PS4 and the Xbox One. The only thing they're going to be competing against is the standard Nintendo stuff here because third parties still refuse to support on a higher level for Nintendo, so they see an easier barrier to entry there. And when you go looking at that store, I mean, if you're an Xbox gamer looking at the live arcade store, you're looking not for necessarily for the Shovel Knights and things like that. Look at some of the biggest indie games from the 360. It was zombie games that were clones of DayZ and shit like that, As an indie dev, if you're making something more along the lines of Shovel Knight or Mighty Number 9, although it's not technically indie because it's kind of big, but, shit like that, the audience and you're not going to be competing against such huge overshadowed marketed games like the Xbox One and the PS4 have. You only have to deal with Nintendo themselves, and we can all safely say Nintendo games are going to sell. So then you have pretty much the whole whatever the hell they call the store now, eShop, to yourselves, and you're getting these titles that look kind of like, hey, that looks kind of like a Nintendo game. Shovel Knight looks like an old school virtual console game, that kind of thing. So you're in the right market, and you don't have to compete with shit that's so radically different from what you're building. So you've already got an audience interested in what you might be selling. That was a long rant. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Well, I mean, you made your point.
Yeah. All right. So, how the hell did we get on that tangent? Oh, NX. That's right. We were talking about NX. Okay. So we're gonna jump away from that for a second. I don't think Sony really mentioned anything like hardware or anything like that, did they? They mostly just threw games at us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Games that don't even really come out this year.
We'll get to that. We're not grading anybody yet.
Coming in 25-35.
Yeah, pretty much. Shit, with Square Enix's release cycle, I hope nobody was looking forward to playing that FF7 remake anytime soon.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Well, we'll get to that too. So, I'm sure you guys might have at least one or two things that you guys, were interested in, were looking forward to. I kind of want to go down the list of at least the major stuff talked about. And as we were already 38 minutes into this one, it's probably going to take up about the next half an hour to 40 minutes anyway. So let's start with some of Microsoft stuff. As we already heard Roger mention, Recore from some former retro guys. It looks really good. Also, the Rare announced the Rare Replay Collection, which is basically every game they've ever made that wasn't Donkey Kong Country or GoldenEye, unless somebody has news about GoldenEye being included. And all packaged together. It's like 30 games, I believe, and it's going to be a $30 price point when it comes out, which is, there's probably about 4 or 5 games alone on there that would be worth that $30 price point, and now you've got basically $1 a game for stuffs on there, and you might be getting fucked over by Rare when you include stuff by Grabbed by the Ghoulies on there, but at the same time, you're getting on average $1 a game for stuff like Perfect Dark, for Jet Force Gemini, for Blast Corps, things like that. It's
Now,
interesting.
is that like is that final, or could they add stuff, a couple things here and there, DLC and whatnot?
I was gonna say, to be fair, you can always add stuff with DLC. They can include other stuff if they'd like, I'm sure. I think.
Well, I just don't know. I don't know how much they're excluding from that. list?
I don't know. Did Rare make more than 30 games?
I don't remember. I mean, they pretty much made games I up to Nuts and Bolts and was Viva Pinata Rare?
Yes. Yeah, and Viva Pinata, Sean said not only is that by Rare, but both of those are included on the replay collection as well.
Alright.
So yes, that was definitely Rare. We're going to have
I don't know, I always
a
like
Kingdom for
collections.
Keflings. Anybody up for that?
It's
I'm just fucking with you. It's definitely interesting, and I think there's probably about a good solid at least 5 or 6 games that are worth the $30 alone, just for those 5 or 6, and having everything else kind of icing on the cake. Jet Force Gemini especially, and Blast Corps, 2 great games that we just haven't seen anything in a while.
and
so
I would assume that they come with online multiplayer, not just local.
I would hope so.
I would absolutely hope so.
Also, of course, Battletoads. There's 2 Battletoads games included on the collection, so. Sean's
Actually,
getting
I may have to go look that up, because if that is
Sean's
just
getting
local,
excited
then I'm
because he
not
just
gonna
thought about
fucking get it.
he just thought about online Battletoads co-op, which is yeah. I hope it's I do hope it's online. Definitely would love to play some Battletoads online. No, that was Trade West. Yeah, Battletoads and Double Dragon was Trade West. That is the best one, I agree. And, 4 years from now, when 100 people have actually viewed this podcast, we're going to get like 70 angry comments about that not being the best one, but yeah, that was definitely an exciting piece of news and exclusive for Microsoft. And I think there's enough old love for Rare there from their previous days that it's definitely worth talking about. And
Looks like GoldenEye's not gonna be even considered as DLC just because of the whole licensing issue.
yeah, it's
That's still
licensing
going.
with Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They also, of course, showed off some Halo stuff. I'm gonna be 100% honest. After Halo 4 and the time I spent with that, I'm kind of burned out on Halo and didn't even feel like a Halo game.
Hold on,
Mm-hmm.
real quick.
Mm-hmm.
To end that, for closure on the Rare replay, there is going to be online
Yes.
online stuff.
All right.
2 to 32.
Oh wow, 32. What the fuck's gonna be 32? Perfect Dark Zero wasn't 16 on 16. What the hell could be 32 players? Was it?
I don't know.
Look, let's be honest. Nobody played Perfect Dark Zero, so nobody knows.
There's Conquer multiplayer. There's Jet Force Gemini co-op. That's not going to be 32 though. I don't know. It's just
Conquer would be fun with 32.
It says players 1 through 4, Xbox Live 2 to 32. I don't know.
Which one was that on? Oh,
What?
that's just in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably
I don't know.
Perfect Dark Zero if it's
they'll have
anything.
more.
Yeah, it's probably Perfect Dark Zero if it's anything, but we'll see. But
Oh
online
shit! I forgot
multiplayer is
about
good.
Killer Instinct on that.
Yep. Yeah, Killer. Is it gold or is it the original? Killer
It's
Instinct gold. Oh. Well, I will go out and say that's definitely a buy for me. There's just too many good games on, especially with online, that it's too good a purchase for
Yeah.
me. So I'll be picking that up for sure. But yeah, moving on. Microsoft showed off some Halo stuff as we all expected. I'm personally a little burnt out. I didn't really care for Halo 4. And Halo 5 looks to be still in that same vein, but for all the Halo fans, and there's a lot of them, this is Microsoft we're talking about, that's, good stuff there for them. I don't really know if any of the 4 of us are actually Halo fans anymore, though. Sean says not particularly.
Not rapidly.
No, but I'm becoming a Dice fan real quick.
A Dykes fan?
Dice.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Hold that thought. Also, of course, more information on the upcoming Gears of War Ultimate Edition, including, as I said earlier, the beta for all preview dashboard members. And anybody else who's registered at this point and gotten their codes is also already in. It looks gorgeous from the beta. It's definitely just a
It's
beautiful piece of work.
really slick.
Yeah, Jeff played it. I will say that...
Playing it right now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's playing it right now. I was about to ask him that. I will say, A, that I suck at Gears now, but B, the I don't know if it's because of how slick everything looks, but the camera shaking during the roadie run is it's one of the first things I've ever seen that's given me a little bit of motion sickness. It's almost like it's too clean to have
It's
that much
yeah.
going on. It's a weird.
Hopefully they
feeling.
fix that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's some smoothing out of motion and stuff like that because it seems very janky would be a word I would use right now. But that's coming. It's holiday season, and later on during the PC conference, it was also announced that the Ultimate Edition was coming to PC as well. So, the good news on the PC side of front, you guys get the new Gears, or the remake of Gears 1, and I think that's still the only Gears game you guys have ever gotten, so...
Yeah, it's hard to get a hype for something that
Yeah.
you get the fourth iteration of. It's like, that's cool.
It's a
Thanks, I guess.
it's a big title. I mean, it's probably lost some of its fandom, but it's a big title.
Well, it's definitely a big title, but I mean, like, it's already been exclusive on one console for so long that when it comes to PC, it's like, that's cool.
Shit. No, Jeff just sent me an update.
I didn't know if I to say that out loud.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
by
really
all means.
pertaining to anything.
I'm definitely still taking in information as it's coming. So that's also another interesting one to mention, that Rock Band 4 pre-orders are now up, and people have started hunting down the old instruments since they are confirmed compatible, and apparently it's $250 for the new version of Rock Band 4 with instruments.
full
and
box.
Yeah, for the whole thing, yeah. Yeah. So that's a hefty price point. It's definitely more than I paid for the original one back in the day.
Would you pay $180 for a controller?
Would I pay $180 for a controller?
Yeah.
I want $180 to hit my dick and hit myself in the dick with a hammer.
Fair enough. Well, he's subtracting the game price from $250, and then some.
That I'll just borrow some old instruments.
Their old instruments and DLC. Yeah, that's a great marketing idea. Sean was commenting on how brilliant a marketing idea was to make it backwards compatible with all their stuff, which I agree. I have my old instruments still. I did have a fair amount of DLC, so it's awesome that that's not suddenly obsolete.
At least that
Mm-hmm.
puts some lex on the store too, because when that comes out, there's gonna be like 70 pages of songs.
Pretty much.
How's the secondary market going to look for the old instruments, like all the special editions?
Oh, that
come out?
shit's gonna go through the roof, dude.
Yeah. The time to buy the guitars is over. Hope you had 3 Les Pauls.
Yeah, pretty much. So there's a good amount of that, and of course we saw a bunch of multi-platform games and things like that. So we're not talking about that right now. That's exclusives that we were covering. Moving on to Sony's press conference, which was a great fireworks display of shit that's not coming out for years.
They had good intentions.
They had good intentions. They definitely excited the crowd, and I will definitely give them an A+ on that. I really would have liked to see anything that was coming out this year that wasn't Destiny DLC or a timed exclusive thing on Black Ops 3, because I don't think there was. I literally think there was nothing else besides those that was this year.
God, we could have a whole fucking segment on timed exclusives.
We could, but we're not going to have that one right now. I'm just saying Sony
I know, I'm just saying.
did a lot of flash in the pan and definitely hit some keynotes, but their holiday season still doesn't look good. At least beyond the big multi-platform titles, which are, of course, going to sell one way or the fucking other. It doesn't matter. They didn't really inspire, and then the Vita is, of course, MIA again. I think they
That was
sneezed on
dead in the water when it came out.
yeah, I
Come
think
on,
they
let's be
sneezed on a
honest.
Vita napkin during the press conference, and that was it. So, guess you who bought Vitas, man, I hope you guys like 16 different Hyperdimension Neptunias coming out over the year, because I think that's the only thing on the release list. And Danganronpa, that's coming out too, so there's that. It's a visual novel. It's a
Yeah.
popular one.
So, I mean, has there really been anything, and I mean, pardon my lack of knowledge on this because I don't own a Vita and probably never will, but, I mean, is there actually anything on the Vita that's worth playing?
There's a couple of things, but the biggest problem with the Vita is it's didn't differentiate itself enough from the consoles.
Somebody with a Vita, sell me one.
Yeah,
Sell me on it. I mean,
it was a port heaven again, and then the things that did come out that were good, just got yeah, Luminous Electronic Symphony, Gravity Rush, Muramasa Rebirth. There was a version of Toikiden. I'm gonna mess this up. Toikiden, which is kind of like Koei's take on a Monster Hunter type game.
Isn't there a version of Isaac for the Vita?
Yes, Isaac was on the Vita, so there's definitely good games there, but
I could go on for a whole segment about Gravity Rush. That's probably one of the best games I've ever played on handheld. But I mean, it's really the only
oh
game.
yeah, Gravity Rush. I remember that.
It's really the only game that really took advantage of all the Vita's features. But I really loved that game. And that's pretty much it.
Good to know.
That one little sentence right there is pretty much all you need to know about the Vita. No, it's lagging for support right now, and there's a lot of stuff that's hidden, Japan exclusive, things like that. But it's even floundering over there, and it's just
been
kinda,
lagging support for years.
yeah, and it's not gaining any, and that's the unfortunate thing. Because I don't think it's a bad handheld at all. I just think it's they put themselves into such a niche market for it that it never had a chance to succeed, really. And then the lack of support just put the final knife in its back.
That and come on, they're going up against Nintendo.
That's
who's
true.
Fucking.
And then when Nintendo stole Monster Hunter, I mean that was the death knell right there.
Not trying to be a Nintendo fanboy here, but come on, you can't really compete with Nintendo, who's been doing it since the 80s.
This is the fourth company they've put out of the handheld market now. I mean, this is home turf for Nintendo. You got a lot to
I know there's going to be a couple detractors out there saying like, oh no, PSP's like the greatest thing ever, man. I gotta go, sitting in my cabinet's never been taken out for like 14 years, but.
Yeah, he's gonna watch Hitch on UMD. That's what Sean said.
God, do they even sell that shit anymore?
Some places do, yes. But yeah,
Those were so terrible and they broke so easily.
Sony did have a couple of exclusive they announced. They're still a ways off with no firm release dates. We had The Last Guardian, which is apparently still being made.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
God,
2009 to
fucking...
2016 now.
That was in development for the PS3 in 2009.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about, games being delayed to be better. Well, there you go.
Well, I was under the impression, and I think most of the world was under the impression, that game was not being made anymore. So it's a surprise to see that not only is it still being made,
that took a
it looks really good.
that took a seat right next to StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah, for a while. But then it actually got off the bus at some point, apparently, though, because it came back and we saw gameplay instead of just cinematics, and it surprisingly looks very good for a game, especially as long as it's been in development. Now, don't get me wrong, I have every faith in Team Ico because they put 2 stellar games out, and that's their track record. Yeah, and it looks really solid, but we still don't have a release date, and that's always worrying, especially with a game in development that long. Just a vague 2016 release date. So, but it came back. It's an exclusive. It's a dedicated exclusive to PS4. It's not even PC. So no. But I'm just saying it's something that they definitely need is a reason to buy a PS4 that you can't get elsewhere. So there's that. They announced, of course, the big one, which we're going to skip over and come back to later. They announced Shenmue 3. They've partnered with Yu Suzuki and WiseNet.
I should have said what I was going to say because that would have segued into it perfectly, but
Yeah.
I didn't think you want to get into Shenmue yet.
No, we're going to go to Shenmue because that's relevant. They specifically announced a Kickstarter for Shenmue 3 that went live pretty much as soon as they started talking about it, and $2 million asking price with just to get the final chapter made, and that Kickstarter was filled in less than 9 hours, which was
a new world record.
Yes, it's a new record, and Sean says it's ridiculous, which I also agree with. But
what studio is making it?
Sean wants to know if you had anything to do with that Kickstarter, Jeff. Did you help fill that
Not
2 million?
yet, but I'm going to when I get paid. No, I only say because I want to put the $29 down so I can get the digital copy when it comes out.
That's true. What was that, Roger?
What do we know? What studio is making it?
It's
Like, what
Wisenet. It's
developer is?
Yu Suzuki's studio.
Okay.
And
I might be-
Sony's backing it now.
Yeah, Sony says they're backing it. Now, Sony claims they've been backing it since before the Kickstarter.
Now that it's been paid for.
They
Yeah.
just want to sound important.
They do want to sound
down.
important. Now, bear in mind, Sony backing it does not exclude anybody else who doesn't own a PS4. It's already confirmed for PC release, and Suzuki has been very forward about saying he is open to other consoles getting a release as well. So it's not a true exclusive. Right now, it's currently a console exclusive, but we'll see if that holds. That being said, 2 million always seemed like a low goal to me as soon as they said that number, considering the original Shenmue in the year 1999-2000 was a $47 million game. So, yeah, this game is probably going to have... it's good that Sony's at least putting the back behind it now, because it's going to cost a lot more for it to be what it needs to be. Hold on.
Well, if we go back to a game that's been crowdfunded, look at Star Citizen. It started real low, and people are still funding it to this day. Like, still,
Yeah,
I think it's at like what, like 6 or 7, or it might be in the double digits of millions of dollars right now, being funded, and that game is just looking better and better and better. Chris
Well, in the
Roberts
case of
is like,
Shenmue,
just give me your money.
if it keeps, yeah, if in the case of Shenmue, if it keeps getting funded, they do have funded goals where they're
Stretch goals.
going to include more stuff in it.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Yeah, 2
Possibly
million,
even more
Sean-
in the story.
Sean brought up the point of why
'Cause,
they set the goal so low, and 2 million really just feels like Sony and
It feels like
okay.
advertising.
It feels like advertising, but it also feels like Sony was like, okay, we'll put support behind it if you can prove that the fans actually want this. Yeah, it's like
Well, I was
10,000
gonna-
likes on Twitter, except with money, and then the fans answered, in spades
Except with
immediately.
money.
You know.
I want to point out real quick. Not correcting you per se, but just you said it was the final chapter, and this could lead into more because
True,
apparently
this
that
is-
thing had like 20 chapters.
It's supposed to be the end of the Shenmue trilogy as it was originally conceived, yes. But, I mean, essentially, we've been waiting on this game for 15 years, and Suzuki's been trying to make it forever. And it's good that he finally found a way to make it work. And I don't know if you saw the article, Jeff, but he said that Sega was very forthcoming about the rights. They didn't fight at all. They're just like said, you
Oh
wanna
yeah,
make it?
apparently it was
Here you
very
go.
easy to get.
Yeah, they said you want to
Maybe
make
the
it.
rights cost $2 million.
No, they apparently just handed it to him. They said, "We trust you. Make it. Finish it."
Which doesn't make sense why it took so long to get made, considering he's wanted to make it every day for 15 years.
Jeff, you will be able to cover this question better than I will. Sean is fairly unfamiliar with Shenmue, and he would like you to explain what it's about, just in in a nutshell.
Pompadours.
Pompadours. There you go.
I mean, what do you have time? Are you sitting down? I mean,
No, he's shaking his head. He wants a general. He would not in depth. He just wants a general idea. He doesn't want to know about the forklift, job.
basically, it's a Chinese mafioso head boss kills Ryu's dad, and Ryu goes on a journey of revenge and a toy machine.
But I believe you can buy sodas from a soda machine, correct?
Yes, you can. He drinks them so fast. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten diabetes.
Sean says he could
So-
feel your insides burning with not being able to explain it how you wanted to. You can feel the
I don't
physical
have
pain.
time.
Anyway,
Another
Plus, I
2
don't
hour
want to
show.
make it all convoluted.
yeah,
and
Shenmue is
like it.
essentially it's a revenge story, but in ancient China. Well, not even ancient China, but yeah, it is hard. It's just a revenge story. You're going after the man who killed your dad, and playing with
Well, it
toy
starts in
machines and
Japan, and
petting
they go
this
to
kitten
China.
and drinking the soda and looking for
Yeah, but-
sailors.
You have a mission with insane ADD.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's also a glorious game and was definitely. He's trying to.
It
I
was
would be
it was an open a great way before its time open environment
Yeah,
thing with a
absolutely.
lot of great character development.
Absolutely. Um, Sean asked if it was coming for Xbox. I would be very surprised if the Xbox One doesn't get a version, considering it was the original Xbox that reignited the interest with the port of Shenmue 2.
If Sony's backing it, I'd be surprised if Xbox gets it. That might be the thing. Like, we'll back it, but it's just going to be PC and PlayStation. And that's it.
I would normally agree with you, but knowing the way Suzuki is and knowing that it was Microsoft that originally tried to help reignite interest, it's going to be a hard-fought battle either way, I think. I think Sony will probably fight for the console exclusivity, but I think at the same time Suzuki's going to be like, you did turn me down originally, so no, I'd like to put this out to
Maybe
the
they'll
people
settle
who
for
want it.
like a timed exclusive.
I'm thinking that's what it'll
Probably.
be. It'll probably be timed exclusive. The PS4 will get it first, and then it'll be ported over to the Xbox.
How about we
One.
wait until it actually comes out?
Yeah, this is all speculation, so we'll see.
In
But
2072 when it comes out.
no, there's no.
Well, no, I mean
date.
he's been working on it for a while. He just hasn't had the funding to
Yeah.
actually get it, working.
And now he's got the funding. So.
And he's got a development team.
And now these not only does he have funding, he has proof via that Kickstarter being filled in a world record time that people want this game. So I don't think anybody's going to be shying away from it now either, since they've seen that yes, the interest is actually there.
And I would hope that this brings more people to the Kickstarter trend, because obviously, and I know I'm not alone in wanting, probably not a sequel. It probably wouldn't be as, I think even Sega's like, we don't want to do Skies of Arcadia 2 because we'd probably fucking disappoint you, but at least a remake or a graphical update. I don't know.
Or dare I say, Psychonauts 2. That would be fucking amazing
Yeah.
too. No, not even a fucking remake, dude. I'd like to see a new Psychonauts. They've already updated that game. Yeah, that was PS2 Xbox, bro.
Yeah.
For that series, yeah. And then they updated. I would love a sequel to Psychonauts, man. Schaefer's. Yeah. Sean's over here quoting the conspirators from the or the robots from the Milkman conspiracy. Jeff.
Oh God.
It is a great day for that activity that you mentioned. But yes,
I
though,
need to
hopefully,
go back and
hopefully
play
this shows a trend of some of those series that have languished. That there's hope for them. That the fans are out there and would love to see them coming back.
And then you get the people that are waiting for Beyond Good and Evil 2 that pretty much just said, you might as well just stop.
Pretty much. But that, of course, they showed Uncharted 4, which is due for next year as well. And I'm not an Uncharted fan, but it looks like a solid game. It looks like a very cinematic game, which is what Uncharted's known for. I will be completely apathetic to it, but I'm sure it's big news for Sony fans. Yeah, and Sean.
The way you
enjoys
say it,
Uncharted.
it looks like a solid game. It's got good shoulders.
Yeah.
I think it will do just fine.
It's got a lot of spunk. I like that.
All I'm saying is I don't really care, but I'm going to mention it.
Yeah.
It's one of those few exclusives that would either make Sony fans absolutely belligerent assholes about their exclusive, or possibly, I don't know the other point I had.
Yeah, I get what
Just
you're saying.
belligerent assholes.
It's one of those ones that's kind of polarizing, but is definitely a plus for those people still looking for reasons why they bought their PS4 or reasons
It
to
might,
buy
yeah, it
them.
might be a selling point for the
It's a
system.
selling point for the system. Absolutely, it's still a ways off
what I
though,
meant
so
to
don't
say.
go run out and buy one right now, guys. We got some time. But that, of course, I'm dancing around the big one, whether or not we all really care about it or not.
That's the big one.
You know it's the big one, Jeff. Whether or not the four of us on this
Half-Life
particular-
3, everybody.
Yeah, Half-Life 3, confirmed. No, the big one, of course, from Sony's conference is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's real, it's a thing. It's probably about 40 years off with Square Enix's development track cycle, but it's coming. And as Roger stated earlier, he doesn't have any interest in it, and Sean and I were talking about it earlier, and Sean doesn't have any interest in it, and
They've burned so much goodwill. It's like, at this point, why do I give a shit?
yeah, Square Enix has burned a lot of goodwill, and that was kind of my thought process after the initial excitement that the very reason Jeff and I even talked to each other the first time is actually a real thing now. Uh, on Game Informer boards, we were trolling each other about the Final Fantasy VII remake, and Jeff got to almost 15 years later drop the "I was right" banner. So, but yeah, it's a real thing. They've confirmed it. They've also been dropping some little hints on their ideas for how they're going to make it work. They'll be keeping the silly, humorous stuff like the cross-dressing scene to get into the brothel and all that, and they're not going to throw out everything, but they are definitely aware that it's an aged game, and they will not be just polishing it. They did state that they're going to be making changes and that they're going to be reworking the game to fit in a modern environment. Which gives me hope, but before I go into that, I'm going to pass the mic to Sean, and I'd like Sean and Roger to pop in here and you two tell us what it would take from people who don't give a shit to give a shit about this.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and go first. For me to be interested in a Final Fantasy VII remake, I mean, I'm kind of just hearing about it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. I'll probably throw it on GameFly, just to give it a try whenever it comes out. But for me to be interested, I'm a big fan of real-time combat, so I'll probably really be interested if they do some sort of like final like Lightning Returns-esque combat, but maybe not as shitty.
Well, I'm pretty sure
there's
that's
that
the way
goodwill.
that this. I'm pretty sure that's the way that Square Enix is starting to do
Well-
their Final Fantasy series.
Well, let's not get too crazy because they did a damn good job with at least in my opinion, with the combat in Kingdom Hearts 2. So if it was something slightly like that, like kind of fast-paced, kind of loose a little bit, but I mean, then you probably start losing the identity of what makes Final Fantasy VII. So I'm going to get the
Look,
mic
you're
back.
probably going to get a different story, a little bit, not quite completely different, but just enough to make things like
Jeff.
the best way I could say. What?
Hold on before you and I really get into this. I want to hear what it would take to interest Roger, and then you and I will talk story differences and things like that.
I'm going to have to disagree with Sean. I don't want to see a system that's been in place and came out in 2006. I want to see a new combat system, something that's different, that makes me want to play it. Having the same system as Kingdom Hearts 2, or having the same thing they had in 7, it's not going to interest me. I can't stand grinds anymore. They just have to do something completely different for me to want to play it. And the fact that it's a remake tells me it's not going to be completely different. And it's going to be one of those games I'll get when it's on sale for $2.
Can you give an example? Sean wants to know if you have an example of what would bring it in, not just do something different, but do you have an example of what would pique your curiosity?
Fuck. That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't know. They have to do something to where I'm not expecting it.
They'd have
So
to do something that you actually can't think of at the moment. That
Yeah.
would just, all right, fair enough.
On the spot, have not thought about it before. Yeah, something I can't think about because I can't.
All right, Jeff, you and my turn. It's us now. Now, both of us having played the game, and we both appreciate it to varying levels. I don't think it's really either of our favorite Final Fantasies anymore, but we do acknowledge that it's a game that came at the right time and did the right things for its time, but it's aged fucking terribly. This was stuff I wanted to save for the roast of Final Fantasy VII, and I was going to do that eventually, but this feels like the right time to talk about why the original needs to be changed, since they're bringing it back now. As you were starting to say, the story is going to have to change. Unfortunately,
Not too dramatically, just enough to where it's like it feels new, but you're not like, oh yeah, I remember doing that.
well, here's the thing. Not only do I agree with that, but because of all the spin-offs and the compilation of Final Fantasy VII stuff, we're now going to see how they integrate Genesis into the actual Final Fantasy VII story, Jeff. Aren't you excited?
Wait, what'd you say?
Do you not remember Crisis Core?
Oh yeah, very vaguely.
Yeah, now we get to see how Genesis factors into the actual Final Fantasy VII story. Aren't you excited?
I would like to see kind of an alternate ending.
Yeah, I could see where you're going. Some actual story changes, but I think the only story changes we're actually going to see are them bringing in all the stuff they got retconned in from the compilation, and Advent Children, and Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, that Turks mobile game.
Voice acting.
Yeah, voice acting. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, those are going to be the major changes we'll see from the story
But not
standpoint.
Whiny Cloud from Advent Children.
Oh God, I hope not. He was the Marcus Phoenix of Final Fantasy game, or I'm sorry, yeah, the Marcus.
But
Phoenix.
definitely Tifa from Advent Children.
Well, I'm debatably, yeah. We'll see. There's a lot of places they can go with it, but I will be the first to say. And
How
if
do
anybody's
you- how
actually
do you
watching the
make-
live, if anybody's watching the live stream right now, I'm probably gonna piss him off with this, but I don't see how they're gonna leave out. No, he's streaming. I'm probably gonna piss him off with this, but they're going. The way Square Enix is nowadays, they're not going to ignore the compilation stuff. It's going to be retconned in. And I know a lot of people don't want that because Genesis and NGL and all that shit was fucking stupid. I'm going to 100% say that. Yeah, Orange Hair Genesis. The Sephiroth before Sephiroth, exactly, Sean. All that shit was fucking stupid. And this whole lineage of the Buster Sword and shit like that, no. But this is the 2015 Square Enix that's starting this, not years ago Square Enix. They're going to include all this stuff. They're not going to ignore their whole compilation of Final Fantasy VII set. And I agree with the battle system needing to be thrown out with both of them as well. It's a very aged system. If they're going to insist on sticking with active time battles, which I hope they don't, but if they do, I hope that they've learned the lessons that the Mario and Luigi series and South Park's The Stick of Truth learned, and that you need to involve your player more in an active time battle system. Some kind of timing for hits or button commands for super moves, things like that. I'd like to see that if they're going to stick with the active time battle system. That being said, I think the ATB system is very fucking archaic, and they should throw it out wholesale, and either the Kingdom Hearts style system would be nice, or upgrade Crisis Core's battle system and give me that with the slot roulette again. I'll play that again, but with the actual story of Final Fantasy VII. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Jeff, anything else you want to add on to that? I think that's the main points for the changes, but anything else you want to put in there?
Other than that, oh well, the one thing I was thinking was like, are they gonna make the world a little bit bigger? Because the world was kind of pretty easy to navigate, and would probably not translate well to, current gen.
Yeah, it's comparatively smaller. Absolutely.
Well,
So,
the one thing they could do is just space everything out and make everything bigger on the world map.
I'd like to know what they're going to do with the minigames. If chocobo breeding is going to be such a pain in the ass still, and
Oh
the
god.
stuff from the casinos, things like that. The little fucking tower defense game, is that going to come back, or are they going to just toss that one wholesale? Please,
That was even optional to
toss it.
begin with.
Please
I don't
toss
know
it
why
wholesale.
that was.
please toss it wholesale. Just make it a cinematic. I don't care. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, that wasn't that great.
I'd like to see what they're going to do for the bike sequence.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Really,
Motorbike.
this is just
Cloud does
like,
a motorbike
okay, I can't
sequence.
wait for a gameplay trailer.
Yeah, I'd like to see more. Obviously, aesthetically, the little teaser we got and the game itself, inevitably, because of how Square Enix makes games, is going to look beautiful. I don't think anybody's worried about aesthetics. Especially now that they've announced they're keeping some of the sillier shit in that the fans definitely want, like the cross-dressing scene to get into the brothel and things like
Yeah.
that. I don't think anybody's going to be displeased aesthetically. I think it's going to be from a Game Boy standpoint. And from what I've seen, I want to throw this note in there, it's very split. What I've seen in comments and things like that. There's a lot of people that are echoing our sentiments, saying toss out the system, it's old, do something new, change it up. There's a lot of people that say don't get rid of the ATB system. So this game is already headed for disaster for some people, one way or the other.
I would say head for disaster. It's just got a lot of. It's going to take a little longer because it's trying to. I don't know if they're trying to please everybody or
Yeah,
kind
well,
of
they're
thing.
not going to please everybody. That's going to be the problem. This game
No, I know.
is not going to live up to.
But they're gonna try to, maybe air quotes here, listen to the fans and try to make it as best as possible instead
And
of
I
just
hope they do, and I hope they go.
slapping a
that-
Band-Aid on it and throwing
I hope
it
they
on
go
the
for as
shelves.
broke as it sounds like they're going to go for, because it really needs the overhaul, in both
Yeah.
combat and graphically and the translation. Dear God, the translation! Please rewrite it, start over.
Do you think it's like Square Enix realizing that like we fucked up and our sales are dropping, and we need to do this?
Yeah, I think it's the desperation button being pressed. I really think it is. I think that they're seeing that interest in FF15 isn't as high as they thought it was. That Typo probably didn't do as well as they thought it would. I mean, let's be honest, Square Enix games do still sell, but I don't.
Come on, Final Fantasy 15's been in development for like 10 years. Of course, interest is down. It was back when it was still versus
13 and it
versus
was
thir-
still
yeah.
Fabula Crystallis Novellis or whatever the hell they called it. Yeah, it was the compilation of Final Fantasy 13 stuff basically. They just had it, I can't remember what they called it. It was something stupid. Just go with that. Yeah, I mean that's their dev cycle right now, and I know they're trying to make 15 a little different and something interesting, but I almost have to wonder if 15's battle system is going to be the water test for the 7 remake at this point, and see how that does. I think a lot's riding on how well the Final Fantasy 7 remake does for them, because they're dipping into the pool they swore they weren't going to, which makes it a desperation move, I think. And I do hope they just go for broke on it, man. I just do what needs to be done, and I hope they have enough sense to not pull away what needs to stay in. It seems like with their initial announcements that they kind of have an idea of where they need to go with it. And yeah, it's a very important game in RPG, bringing RPGs to the West. So now, can they have lightning strike twice on that? I guess that's the question.
No, they're seeing the drops in sales in the West, and that's just their attempts to try to get it back. And I honestly don't think it's going to be as good as they hope it is.
I don't think it is. I don't think it has a chance in being as good as they hope it is. But I think that they need this game.
I think they're hoping to ride on nostalgia enough to get people to back it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because with Final Fantasy VII coming out on Steam a while back, and then
iOS now.
Yeah, on iOS too. Trying to get the younger generation in on it before it comes out.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that was kind of a preliminary test to see if test the waters to see if it would still be even. I know they know that people still adore it, but adoring it and wanting to play it again is two different things.
As I posted on my friend's Facebook when he was talking about it, I hope that they can learn the lessons they need, and I hope they have enough sense to make it work. And then once they figure out what they did wrong with this one, remake 6 and do it with a better game and do it right.
Yeah. Six would be great to see in a big 3D environment.
Absolutely. But I think we're going to stop there since there's almost nothing else to go on at this point other than those few announcements they've made, and leave that conversation for later. And I do want to say I forgot to mention something while we were talking about Fallout. The Pip-Boy edition, which comes with an actual functioning Pip-Boy, the special edition, for you to wear outside the game. And we'll have some in-game syncing functionality, checking inventory and perks and things like that straight on your Pip-Boy on your wrist. It's one hell of an accessory that they're giving with that special edition.
God, that just sounds so fucking cool.
They'll learn. Yeah, probably. Yeah, they're here. So, yeah, just throwing that in real quick, that Fallout 4 Pip-Boy edition. It looks dead sexy, but it's humongous. I just want to say that.
Super expensive.
Yeah, super expensive.
I'm gonna definitely need a price point
It
on that
started
one.
at 90, and within 30 minutes it jumped to 120 on Amazon. I think it's closer to 200 at this point.
For the collector's edition?
Yeah, for that Pip-Boy edition.
Oh, shit.
Because of pre-orders. Nah. They jumped in price because of pre-orders. So that being said, at this point, I think we're just going to start talking about some of the games we saw and what we'd like to see. We've got about 40 minutes left on this one, guys. So I'd just like to go down the list on some of the major things we were showing and get thoughts on that. Yeah, I think Roger mentioning DICE earlier. I think you were leading towards Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, and that game, from what they showed, assuming taking them at their word that that's actual in-game footage taken off the PS4 and what it's going to be like, I know I said I was hard enough to cut Diamond about something last week. I'm hard enough to cut Adamantium this week from that. Yes, this is the mention. I'm hard enough to cut Adamantium after that.
My dick became a laser that can etch my name into the moon.
Absolutely. I was really worried that this was going to be Star Wars Battlefield, that they were going to slap a skin over it and go from there. But everything I saw, it looks like a Battlefront game. That's what I wanted. It looks like it's going to play like a Battlefront game, and I'm super fucking excited for it. And it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, it does. Well, I mean, like, I was so happy when I heard that DICE was getting it. I mean, they've been making air, ground, motorized, and infantry-style battle games since 2002.
Yeah.
You know, successfully with Battlefield 1942, all up to Bad Company and the newer ones. So they're definitely the studio to choose. And from what I've seen, if that's, you know, representative of it, it looks like it's on the right track. The only thing I feel cautious about is, of course, the air combat. From what I saw in the preview, didn't look that good. Like, when you see the way they actually move and everything in the air, it doesn't seem like...
Well, again, it's still early.
Well, to be fair,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll still be better than the old Battlefront air combat.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, like,
but it could use some work. I can
faith.
agree with you on that.
Yeah, they have time, but definitely looks so interesting, and I want to be in the Empire shooting filthy rebels.
I'm
so
just
can't
gonna
wait.
say this right now. This is that and Fallout 4, Star Wars Battlefront and Fallout 4 are two of the games that I for the first time in a long time, I've seriously considered just pre-ordering because they both look that good. And that I try not to pre-order fucking anything anymore. But both those games are. I'm pretty certain I'm gonna end up buying both of those games. And Battlefront specifically, I don't see there being, unless it's just absolute garbage when it actually comes out. I don't see there being a way I'm not gonna buy that game. So it looks that good, and I've been waiting for a new Battlefront for a long time. So this is all the right notes with me.
I was curious how the Jedi and Sith is going to work. Like, you can't have a whole bunch of them running around.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's going to be one or two per team, depending how many players are on each side. And how do they decide who gets to play as the Jedi, who gets to play as the Sith on that game? That's one thing I'm really curious about, and how that's going to work.
Yeah. Well, if it's like the old one, and I think they did mention that there's going to be for sure the hero mode, which the hero mode of the old one was everybody playing as heroes at the same time, so you just have that fucking chaotic battle that you could have.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, and then the other way it functioned was like the heroes were like a limited time power up that you had to earn during the game. It's almost akin to like a kill streak in a Call of Duty game. So you had to earn the right to drop in as a Jedi or as Han Solo or Boba Fett. Sorry, Boba Fett or something like that.
Boba
Gump. Yeah. So yeah, you had to earn that right, and if it's anything like that, which like I said, I hope it is, it'll stay that way. I mean, it's already a functioning system, so just make it so it's even and all that, and we'll be good. But yeah, absolutely, it looks fantastic. Like I said, I haven't pre-ordered a game in a long time, and it's definitely on the list of things that I'm almost certainly going to buy. Back to the list, speaking of which, let's move this along since we lost a little time there. I forgot about an exclusive for the Xbox One that I wanted to mention that they showed during their conference. It's actually Rare's new game. Did anybody else take a look at this?
Maybe.
It's called Sea of Thieves. It's a pirate game.
Oh, yeah.
It looks just... What little they showed looks pretty good, and from it's being described from what I've heard as Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag without all the Assassin's bullshit. So that's definitely a high note in my book.
It's described as "fuck you, Ubisoft. This is the game you should have made."
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely excited for that and down for that. I want to see more before I get too into it, but I'm a bit of a whore for the pirate stuff, so that's on my list as well.
You're pro booty. I
Yeah,
understand.
pro booty. EA, of course, announced all their sports games and the new NBA Live face scanning stuff. I don't know if you guys want to touch on that or if any of us even give a shit, but basically using the Kinect cameras and stuff like that, you can scan your face onto your player, which is cool. I mean, put yourself in the game. It looks a lot better than the old Vision Cam style of doing it.
God.
So, there's
That's
definitely
finicky
that.
to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it in Rainbow Six. Or if you're Connor, you got Mel Gibson's mugshot and put Mel Gibson as your guy in Rainbow Six. But yeah,
Somebody did Hitler.
yeah, Hitler, definitely a butt. I saw a butt on a face. But that's always the curse of giving somebody that much control over their character customization. Anyway, so look at Spore, Dick Universe. So. No, Spore, I'm just saying that the amount of customization they gave just led to all sorts of dick monsters being created, and universe is just full of dicks. But, moving on from that, there was a couple of things in the Ubisoft conference that I think were interesting. A, being South Park, The Stick of Truth, getting a sequel called South Park, The Fractured Butthole. A little play on words there. And, yeah. Fractured butthole. Yeah, Sean just got it, guys. He just had a.
Oh my
epiphany.
God.
So instead of a focus on fantasy like the previous one was, it's going to be superhero focused, featuring Coon and friends.
Oh God.
The trailer was
Yeah.
pretty hysterical. I'm all for it. I liked the Stick of Truth a lot. It was a good game.
Behold the power of chaos.
Not developed by Obsidian, this one's in-house, but the Stick of Truth was a good game, and even if they just wholesale copy it and for gameplay standpoint and just give us a new story, I'm pretty okay with it.
Stick of Truth was a bad RPG, but it was good just
South Park
for the
game.
characters. Yeah,
It was a good South Park game.
a good South Park
Has-
game, but a bad RPG.
Has Obsidian done any game twice in a row?
Well, here's a real question. With the games that they've made, have they actually finished all of them? Knights of the Old Republic 2, you know.
God. Yeah.
Or even you could make an argument for New Vegas. That wasn't really finished when it came out.
But it was so
Well,
good.
I'm just saying, like, have they ever done a game twice in a row in the
I don't
series?
think that they've really done 2 in a row, no, to be honest with you. I think that's...
I don't know if
pipe
that was
dream
their
for them, so.
decision not to do the second one, or if they're just like, we need 5 years of break.
We need 5 years to not finish the ending to argue. God, I'm still so sore about the Sith Lords. Sorry. So anyway, but I mean, we don't really have any information beyond it's going to be the superheroes this time instead of the fantasy, and that it won't be Obsidian. So, but good news, it deserves a sequel. It was a good enough game, I think, that it deserved a sequel and a chance to get the gameplay part polished off. So.
I mean, it should still have all the great South Park humor that
Yeah.
the first one had, at least.
I just want to mention, as far as Ubisoft goes,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was shown at the conference, but I'm excited for Siege.
For what?
For Siege.
For Rainbow Six.
I
Yeah.
think
That
they have
looks
playable
so good.
build, but I don't think they really showed anything for it because
looks-
it's already almost here. So.
It looks so good. Well, the beta starts in a few months.
Oh,
you
that
should sign up
reminds
for it.
me. I have completely forgotten a couple of interesting notes with the backwards compatibility for the Xbox One. The Fallout 4 will have Fallout 3 coming over with it. That was confirmed. I think they might have mentioned that it was actually going to be included with the Xbox One version. And then with Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2 are getting a little bit of an update and coming out with it as well.
Nice.
So yeah, so there's some developers jumping on the chance to bring back some of the old
Updated
stuff.
LVU.
Yup, LVU. I hope they're making it look better. I hope it's getting touched up because those games have aged pretty poorly for 360 games.
All I care about is that Siege has me excited about an FPS, and I have not been excited about an FPS in a long time.
Also, Jeff, I think if I remember correctly, you said they had confirmed some sort of terrorist hunt for Rainbow Six Siege?
I don't know. I was curious if they were going to have terrorist
Okay.
hunt, because if it
I-
didn't, then I have no
hadn't
interest
heard
in it
anything
whatsoever.
about that, but because the
Okay.
game's functionally different from the old Rainbow Six games.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Is
just
it even
like
going to
that
have a story? Is it
it's-
just focused on multiplayer?
I think it's focused heavily on multiplayer is the thing this time.
Yeah.
So
That's a shame. Tom
Oh.
Clancy's games have always been really good at storylines,
Yep, that's why we have
especially
Gamefly,
when it was
Sean.
back when Patriots.
I would have loved to have seen Patriots actually come out. I'm so sad that game disappeared. But that's a story for another day. But yes, while we're on the Ubisoft thing, Jeff, do you have anything you want to bring up on Ubisoft? Because I have a couple more Ubisoft games to talk about while we're on it. So, well, I'm kicking
Was
out
there
for more minutes.
anything other than that in Syndicate?
There was actually quite a bit. When they didn't even show Syndicate, they just gave us another CG that nobody gave a shit about. So there's Ubisoft actually had some interesting things. They had a new IP that they gave us a CG on, unfortunately, but a little bit of what looks like could be gameplay put in there, called For Honor, which is a sword fighting game that looks like it takes place in varying ages, with basically through history, with basically all of the major. Yeah, war. It looks like almost teaming up with different eras or fighting different eras of fighters. They showed Viking-looking ones, ones that look like samurai or ninja almost in feudal Japan. Of course, British knights, that kind of stuff. It looks like it could be interesting, but I definitely have to wait to see what the fucking game actually is, because right now nobody even knows what it is besides some kind of sword fighting game.
Don't forget Just Dance 2016.
I already forgot it. Can we move on?
Jesus
Nobody cares anymore.
Christ, Roger.
They showed The Division again, Jeff, which looks worse every fucking time I
Oh,
see
you mean
it.
the disappointment?
Yes, the disappointment. Yeah, it looks worse every time I see it. And I know there were people excited for it and people still excited for it, but right now it looks like it's devolved into the absolute worst of the Kane and Lynch multiplayer. And there,
It just looks ugly.
I mean, I look at that multiplayer now, and with the ability to, either choose to betray people or, leave your group and betray them at the last second. And I flash back to Kane and Lynch's multiplayer, and I realize I can't trust myself to not be that kind of person. And then I think about you guys who I would be playing with, and I can't trust you guys not to do that. So with an online-only game, I'm not going to be playing with anybody I know if I play it. And
It's
I'm
the
not
who's the
thrilled about
biggest
online-only
dick.
games to begin with, so it's kind of losing my interest entirely.
I think it's one of those games that it's the game of who's the biggest dick.
Yeah, it's basically a game for trolls at this point. So,
Welcome to H1Z1.
yeah.
Tom Clancy.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
bring that back up.
It's Ubisoft's DayZ at this point. Yeah.
Premier Grief Simulator.
Yeah. A grief simulator. So, they did show it again, though, and had some very forced dialogue that was supposed to be their actual gameplay dialogue. Let's be honest, guys, you don't know how gamers talk. Or if you do, you're doing everything you possibly can to not present that in dialogue.
Yeah.
Nobody says loot that much in any game since
Or if they
EverQuest.
did, it might have been like, loot that bitch. Like,
Yeah.
I realize they can't say, I'm gonna fuck your mom in
oh,
press
no,
conferences.
but they totally can. They totally can because the presenter,
In press conferences?
the presenter, I give all the props to because she has said fuck and bitch and shit
Oh, Aisha Taylor?
in that conference. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is a great
She's
presenter.
a pretty good host.
Yeah,
I'll give
she's
her
a good
that.
host, and the fact that they can say that means that in those previews they could do it too if they wanted
Wait,
to.
who are we talking about?
Aisha Taylor was...
Oh, Aisha Tyler. Yeah.
Tyler. Sorry.
Yeah, she'll say fuck and bitch and whatever. So if she can say it, they can say it inside their game
Yeah.
preview. They just don't want to portray it as what it's going to actually be online.
Suck my dick, bitch! I got your guns!
Yeah,
Anyway, Division not looking so hot as I thought it might at one point. And also from Ubisoft, we have a new Ghost Recon coming, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, the open
Recon
world one.
Wildlands, an open world kind of bring down the organization.
What's
from
with
the
all
inside
these,
kind of
like,
game.
not quite linear games, but not quite open world either. Going open world like Phantom Pain.
I'm not sure.
It's the soup du jour. Like, that's just
Yeah.
what's in.
I know, but it doesn't seem like it fits.
It's
you know.
it's what's hot right now, and they're trying to strike while the iron's hot.
Okay, that's not a really good.
I know it's not the
if
reason
that's
you
what
want
the
to hear, but
developer
that's,
told me, like, yeah, that's kind of where the trends are going. Okay,
it's
great.
a business
What the fuck
standpoint,
does
though,
that have
man.
to do with anything?
When something gets hot, you want to try to jump on that. It's a common business tactic, Sean says that sounds like a rap lyric. When something gets hot, you want to try to jump on it. But yeah.
Hey,
Ghost
these
Recon
airbags
Wildlands,
are working pretty good. Let's put them in all the cars.
including the Ford Pinto. But no, Ghost Recon Wildlands. If any Future Soldier or something like that, yeah, Ghost Recon pile of shit that nobody played. And then they had that free-to-play online one that tanked immediately.
Oh yeah.
But Wildlands could be interesting. I'm definitely not on board, but I'm not put off by it yet either. And I'm still win me over. I can
Ghost
still be won
Recon
over.
needs a big hook to get me back into
Yeah.
it because it's been a while.
And they showed off that there's several types of ways to handle a threat. You can do the assault option. You can do the long-range sniping option. You can do the stealth option.
Well, remember how
Unfortunately-
excited we were for the last Ghost Recon?
Yeah,
And-
unfortunately, we all have that we'll call him the Chad of our group, who's not going to participate how we wanted to do things. So, yeah, he's gonna go do what he's gonna do regardless. So,
They really need to
Yeah,
start making games in anticipation of that.
yeah, they need to start anticipating the Chad in the group. They really do, because
The
that's
one guy that just doesn't fucking know how to play the game right.
yeah.
Even though we've all told him 5 times.
God damn it, Chad. But yeah, it has some potential, but it's going to require the right group of people, and unfortunately, the right groups don't exist anymore. Not full ones. You might have a few of them, but very rarely. But yeah, it could be something. We'll see. I'll reserve judgment on that. You mentioned Metal Gear Solid. We saw more of the Phantom Pain. Do you want to comment
Very
on
weird
that?
trailer.
Yeah, it's well. I mean, let's start off by saying that it's Hideo Kojima's last E3 Metal Gear Solid trailer. Do you think he went out with a bang?
I think he's showing his
Distaste?
no, not necessarily distaste. I think he's showing the fact that he's
He's
done.
leaving Konami. Well, it's his It's the last one last one of his games from Konami that will be shown.
Every Metal Gear Solid was his last Metal Gear Solid.
Well, true, but now he's actually basically being forced out of the company and done with it, and wanted to leave anyway. So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. It looks like we're seeing the beginnings of the Infanterie, or however it's pronounced, project. I can't ever pronounce the French. So.
Oh, Leofan Tarib.
Yeah, thank you. Tarib. L'Infanterie.
The terrible child.
The terrible children.
Sean says he wants us to know that we sound like mega nerds right now.
Okay, knowing French, knowing French just makes me a nerd. Whatever, man. Get fucked.
Get fucked. He's the best. I mean, we're seeing the final tying everything together, but that's about all it really is, from what I can tell. It looks.
Hopefully, knowing that there's probably gonna be more Metal Gears. I hope to Christ this is the last story with Big Boss. As much as I like his character, there's just
Big
way
Boss
too much shit
and
out there.
Snake. I'm done with both of them. I love them, but too much. Let it go.
Every time I hear Big Boss, I just think of a rapper. Like he's gonna be like Big Boss. Like that's all I can think.
He's what's hot on the streets.
Big Boss. Yeah.
Also, so not only that, but also one of the other big interesting things was No Man's Sky. That was.
Well, that's been interesting for the past year anyway.
And it's remained interesting, which is rare. It is confirmed for a PC release as well now, so if you don't have a PS4, don't fret. You can play it coming to your PC as well. It looks very good. I'm afraid to say that, but it looks very good, and there's a lot there to take in. But again, they're promising a lot with that game, and it's even if you're a big studio, that's a hard thing to deliver on. Uh, yes, their new studio,
It's
and
like a 3D Terraria.
almost something like almost more like a 3D Starbound. Honestly, Roger, that's the kind of general idea if you want something to compare it to. But it looks huge, and they're promising it's going to be huge, and that's what's really going to draw people in is if they can keep finding things that nobody else has been on yet, put their name on it, that kind of stuff.
Anything bigger than Daggerdale, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, will it be like a multiplayer, or is this like a single player experience? Is it massive multiplayer? What do you know about it?
I'm not. I believe it has some kind of. They know about Elite Dangerous. Roger's definitely gonna know about Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, like to me, like
It's very comparable to Elite Dangerous. It is.
Elite Dangerous with the ability to go onto the actual planet.
Yeah.
Is what I'm looking.
That'd
I'm
be
looking
cool.
at it right now, but the space combat doesn't look nearly as engaging as Elite Dangerous is in this current iteration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. I
I
mean,
think
it seems promising, but
No Man's Sky almost seems much more heavily focused on the exploration, though.
Yes,
There's
definitely.
more the combat is a minor thing, and yeah, that means it's probably not going to be as good, and we'll dock points for that for sure. But from an exploration standpoint, this is kind of like tough to top. If they can pull off this whole huge universe with so many unexplored solar systems and planets and all this kind of stuff, and yeah, you do. Did you not see it at E3? He chose a random planet, went to it, and there was new species on it, and it's tagged to him when he went and uploaded it to the beacon. So now, anytime, if anybody happens to come across that planet after it releases, it's his shit, yeah. So it's definitely got a very good promise for those into exploration and looking for something a little more low-key to just go find something new. It could be very, very cool.
yeah, but it's a resource gathering game at its
Yeah.
heart. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, No Man's Sky. I'm happy it's getting a PC release, so I don't have to buy a PS4 for that. Right now, the only thing I'm still gonna have to buy a PS4 for is Last Guardian. Everything else, I have another option to play it with. Final Fantasy's on PC, and probably the 7 remake will probably be on Xbox One. Pretty much everything Square Enix does now is multi-platform, so. Even if
We
they
need
haven't
the
killed that.
sales.
Yeah, pretty much. So that about covers the stuff from Ubisoft, Sony, and EA, because nobody gives a shit about Battlefield and anything else at that point. So now I guess we're moving on to the few things of note from Nintendo's, the Nintendo
How much
Direct.
time we got left?
Kicking out about 5 minutes of us getting reconnected. We've got 20 to 25 minutes left, so we can easily slot in at least the last of the stuff I wanted to bring up.
Of course,
Oh!
Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. That's what you
Yes,
think of.
that's going to be Game of the Year, 10 out of 10.
Fantastic.
I'm looking forward to Mario Maker.
Mario Maker looks very good, on a more serious note, yes. Animal Home, the designer also looks good. It looks like they're doing a lot of more of getting people engaged and making their own stuff, which is kind of the general trend of the industry recently anyway. But yeah, Mario Maker looks fucking awesome. It looks really good. It's basically giving the tools for people to make those platform hell Kaizo Mario games straight onto the Wii U.
God.
I mean, that's going to be one of the big draws is how difficult a level that you can make that can be passed and yeah.
You know what I'm excited for? Doing a barrel roll.
We're gonna give me a terrible fucking segue there for Star Fox Zero. Yeah, Star
Yes.
Fox Zero. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm a huge Star Fox fan, so this is
Yeah.
definitely a win in my column. They've been describing it as almost a reimagining of the series. It's gonna have a lot. Yeah, well, kind of, but with a different kind of. They're changing
Yeah.
the story a little bit too.
There'll be some ground combat, some air combat. I mean, it's a new Star Fox game. Looks like it's still made for the 64, though.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
No, the Landmaster's coming back, and also the new
Well, it's
feature.
it's like a chicken.
Yeah, the new, no. The Landmaster itself is coming back, the tank, and then the R-wing can transform now into a chicken-looking mech,
Into a chocobo.
kind of. And then there's also the new gyro ring, which is like a helicopter R-wing. That's more of a recon type vehicle. So there's some varying different types of stuff there. The big draw is the big thing for Nintendo is the control scheme, which is the TV itself will show you more of a standard Star Fox view behind the ship or pulling into all range mode or that kind of stuff. A little zoom out for that kind of thing. The Wii U gamepad will be a dedicated cockpit view, which will, among other things, allow you to not only see out the cockpit in first person, but also the laser are almost on a swivel turret now, kind of like the Millennium Falcon, and can be aimed independently with the Wii U, so you can be flying one way and shooting a different direction, and things like that. From what I'm hearing, certain levels work better with just focusing on the TV, and certain levels work better with the focus on the gamepad. So it seems like they're making a bit of a balance.
Yeah. From what I'm looking at right now, it looks like the ground combats can be much more focused. You want to be more focused on the gamepad itself, because it looks like you get the in-cockpit view on the gamepad as opposed to on the TV.
Yeah. But it's a lot of very cool ideas there, and I'm excited for a new Star Fox. We do got to touch on the
well overdue.
Yeah, well overdue. We got to touch on the elephant in the room on this one, and talk about the graphics. I know we hate talking about that, but it doesn't look fantastic. It looks very smooth because they're aiming for 60 frames per second on both the TV and the Wii U gamepad,
And the gamepad.
which is a hell of a feat. But graphically, it's late GameCube, early Wii. Yeah.
Again, still early. They could improve it.
Yeah, but they said that they will take the graphical hit for the 60 FPS hit any day. So, and I agree with that for the type of game they're going for.
Yeah.
It's almost a necessity. And graphics don't make everything, but it does look a little aged in the style they've chosen to go for. But new Star Fox still looks better than the last one. I'll take it. I'm excited.
But when do the amiibos come into play?
What was that,
'Cause,
Roger?
but when did the amiibos come into play in my Star Fox game?
I don't remember them mentioning any amiibo stuff, did they?
Nope, they didn't. But it's getting thrown to everything else.
Yeah, it'll
So-
probably be
Yeah.
on there. Speaking of that, Yoshi's Woolly World. Saw more of that. No, it's a couple of months out still, Sean. We saw some of the ways amiibos will be used for that, which is apparently Yoshi's yarn form will take the coloring and costume style of whatever amiibo you touch to the gamepad. They specifically showed Mario and Samus, and that's kind of interesting. The game overall looks like another stellar Yoshi game. Those have always been pretty good, and the aesthetic is downright gorgeous. I mean, that game looks beautiful, and but not much more to say that wasn't already known about that for the most part. So, moving on to things that were.
I wanna jump in real quick.
Mhm.
I know we stopped talking about it a long time ago. Shenmue 3 Kickstarter is now for $3 million.
No, that's how much has been donated. They're still donating. Yeah. Congratulations on that, man. That's awesome that people are still pushing it up higher and higher. There's a lot of support for it. Yeah, get those stretch goals fucking started. I agree. So, they also showed off a new Metroid Prime 3DS game that looks nothing like Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting.
It's not quite the Metroid that I think people were looking forward to.
I agree, but I have a suspicion on that. I think it still looks like it could be fun. It's definitely a lot different. I'd have to probably go into it not thinking of it as a Metroid game, but it doesn't look bad. It just probably shouldn't have had the label on there, even if it is using the control scheme. But that being said, since Nintendo only showed things that are coming out into this year or Q1 2016, I'm wondering if it's their way of possibly teasing what's coming in the pipe, if you know what I'm meaning on that. it could just very well be a tease saying, yes, we haven't forgotten Metroid. Stay tuned. So
I would hope they would have learned their lesson after
Other M.
Other M. Yeah.
Well, the lesson learned from that
Not
is
to
don't
take
ever
that
let
road.
Team Ninja make your game if it stars your female character.
That had
Yeah.
so much potential too.
It
That
did.
pissed me off.
Then we all forgot that Team Ninja can't write worth dick. Bless you, Sean. So, not only that, we saw more of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I'm pretty much sold on at this point. It looks fucking amazing.
I've heard that's huge.
Yeah, it looks fucking amazing. It was a remake of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. The 3DS one? Yeah. This is a new one. And it looks just... I mean, I have a problem with, like, mech games anyway, and I'm pretty much sold on those, and there's a lot of space combat and mechs in it, but on ground, it looks good. It looks real good. It was almost nothing but gameplay footage they showed in the trailer roll, and I liked the first one, so I don't have any reason so far not to like this one. Of course, the Animal Crossing designer was mentioned, as was the new Animal Crossing game for the Wii U, which is Animal Crossing, basically Mario Party. Interesting direction to go in, but there's that.
Not much more they can do with the series that they haven't already. I
Definitely.
mean, God, what's next? Animal Crossing Racing?
Sean said, "Don't joke." You're getting them excited over here.
Is anyone else disappointed that Mario and Luigi Paper Jam was not a Paper Mario game, like an RPG game?
I think
No.
they're trying to appease best of both worlds kind of thing.
I agree with that, and I'm also not disappointed by that because the game actually looks really good. So yes, new Mario. And
Like, we
Luigi
want a Paper
slash-
Mario game. We want a new Saga game. Well, why don't we just...
I mean, Roger, the
have both?
alternative could have possibly been another Sticker Star, so I don't think we want that.
I
Um,
still haven't played Sticker Star, actually.
It's not the best, but it was okay.
I realize
But
that.
Mario and Luigi, Paper Jam, a crossover between the Mario and Luigi series, the Superstar Saga series, basically, and the Paper Mario series, and it looks very much a more action-oriented game. So, well, stay tuned for that. But
I did like Inside Story,
yeah,
so
definitely.
hopefully it follows
Yeah,
along.
you sent Sean on
that
a
vein.
very minor nostalgia trip to the Bowser's Inside Story.
Still not as much as the first one.
Yeah, not as
But-
much as Superstar Saga, but Bowser's Inside Story was good. And also they showed off some of the amiibo functionality on Mario Maker that we were talking about earlier, which you can tap an amiibo to that, and it turns Mario into that character.
Oh, that sounds sick.
Yeah, which is very, very
God,
interesting. Very
could
cool.
we be turning shit into oh God, what was that one browser game?
Yeah, I know. Super Mario Crossover?
Yeah.
It actually kind of looks like it's headed that way. It's kind of cool. So all that aside, I've been avoiding a couple of things that I wanted to say because I think they're probably the things that I'm next to Star Fox Zero most interested in from what Nintendo showed, and Jeff might be on board with me here. First off, we did have the confirmation of Hyrule Warriors Legends, the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors with additional content, including all of the DLC already released. Additional content in the form of some Wind Waker characters, which is awesome. And it's a good game. Definitely, I did not pick it up on the Wii U, and I feel bad about that, but I just never got around to picking it up. But I'll probably pick up the 3DS version. That's definitely a game I see taking with me and playing a lot, for sure. So that was leaked a little bit before, but confirmed with that in the trailer roll, for sure, coming early next year. But more importantly, of course, we don't get any Wii U Zelda, but not only do we get Hyrule Warriors Legends at the beginning of next year, in the next couple of months here towards the end of this year, we get The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, which is a 3-player co-op 3DS Zelda game looking in the vein of Four Swords Adventures type stuff. I'm super excited for it, even with the little that we got to see, because I was a huge fan of Four Swords. All of them. And this, going with the theme of 3 for the Triforce, is cool. And I'm excited to see another one. It's we haven't gotten one since that anniversary release of Four Swords Adventures on the eShop. So
Yeah.
they definitely have been straight up my alley, and I'm excited. It looks good, and out of kind of nowhere with all the other Zelda stuff that was going on. So definitely very cool. I don't think I missed anything in the Nintendo stuff. Oh wait, I know I did, and any viewers we have are gonna be pissed. They did show Fire Emblem Fates. Yeah, Sean's yawning over here. Doesn't give a shit about Fire Emblem. I mean, Fire Emblem's a good series. I'm just not really into it, but I understand it's a huge draw, and Awakening did very well. So, new 3DS Fire Emblem, definitely. And also showed Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem.
Oh
which
yeah,
just
I
looks
heard
like
about that too.
a fucking. I don't care.
It's gonna be a mess.
It's gonna be a hot mess. The trailer was
Yeah.
nothing but just anime craziness. It's gonna be right up the alley of people who like Fire Emblem and Shin Megami, though. It's definitely got that audience. It seems like a super specific fan base, but like Persona 4 was one of the reasons the Vita did as well as it did. So yeah,
That's
but
a good point.
that was Nintendo's conference. It was all stuff that we had already heard of, or a couple of minor surprises, but mostly just stuff for the end of the year. Nothing big, nothing to whet the appetites going forward. We all know that we got more Zelda coming later. I expect TGS they'll probably start teasing us with the Wii U Zelda and anything else they might have coming. But right now is a focus for the end of the year and what we'll be playing in the next few months. So overall, a solid conference. I really would have liked a bigger hint of something coming. I think out of the main three, Microsoft probably did the best at whetting our appetites with future stuff as well as stuff that will be here towards the end of the year. Sony was...
Well, I think,
Our-
as somebody pointed out earlier, and I don't remember, it might have even been Kotaku,
Mhm.
Nintendo's, meaty portion of their news is pretty much from their directs now. I didn't really expect a lot from their E3, depending.
Yeah.
Their directs are little mini E3 conferences to begin with. So
Yeah, absolutely.
aside from their puppet show, their E3 showing was
Man,
absolute
that was
disappointment.
fucking great. Yeah, I think Nintendo focused. I like that they focused on what's coming next, but I think they focused a little too heavily for the end of the year and not enough on something to drive people's imaginations. I think Sony went the opposite direction, way too much, way too in the future, and almost nothing that will be actually playing very soon here. I think Microsoft kind of hit the middle ground correctly. A couple of big things coming in the future, but stuff that's right around the corner as well. That's the big three. There is one more conference we need to whet our appetites on before we end this. The most lackluster one of the show, yeah. Square Enix. First conference at an E3 in ages. And they did not have a strong showing, in my opinion. They definitely showed a couple of things people wanted to see. And they re-showed the Final Fantasy VII Remake teaser.
Yeah, it's kind of like seeing your paycheck got deposited into your account. You're like, awesome, but
The new one. But yeah, I mean, they showed some more Hitman, which actually looks pretty good, the new Hitman. They gave us a little bit of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which I'm a Deus Ex fan, so I'll be looking into that. It looks pretty solid. The new engine that it's running on looks fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
They showed World of Final Fantasy again, which also was shown first during the Sony
I'm
thing.
still not sure what that is, by the way.
They're not really letting us know, but they describe it as
Typical.
a Final Fantasy game that a kid can get into with maybe somebody who's been a longtime fan, like parents and children crossing over the
I
age
see.
gap of old Final Fantasy to new Final Fantasy. So there's that. They then showed that we are getting Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, which is the mobile game that was originally only announced for Japan, is now coming across to the West for iOS and Android.
Whoa.
Yeah, woo. I mean, yeah.
I gotta say, I wasn't really excited about Kingdom Hearts 3 until probably today.
There's a lot of information that you've been sending me while we've been trying to record this, Jeff, that yes, I'm also interested in. I have to say, taking only their E3 trailer into account, it looks aesthetically very nice. I'm very worried about the combat. What I saw of combat looks like they're slapping together all of the gimmicks of all of the handheld games over the years into one maybe cohesive, maybe not cohesive combat system. I know
My,
I know for sure I saw him flow motion off the wall at one point, like from Dream Drop distance. I saw supers that look like shot lock commands from Birth by Sleep. I'm just not sure I'm crazy about this Frankenstein combat that they're building. But
what I was worried about was the worlds. I didn't want them to keep rehashing old ones.
well, Tangled
So
is in.
I heard Frozen's in there. I heard they're doing Star Wars.
Yeah, Frozen, Star Wars, Tangled. Those are all new ones confirmed.
Those all go
something
together
else he
so
said,
well.
I can't remember.
I don't know if Marvel's in or not. I hope so.
I didn't hear anything about Marvel.
But yeah, it looks like they're going for some new. They'll definitely bring back some old stuff. I would be very
Wreck-It
surprised.
Ralph was another one.
Wreck-It Ralph. That's a good one.
I'm just waiting to see like a hot plasma lightsaber cut right through Olaf. Like
You know damn well people are gonna lose their shit when they show the lightsaber keyblade too.
yeah.
And there's going to be one. That's a guarantee. That's a lock. It's gonna look like that dude's lightsaber from the Star Wars trailer. Yeah. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, it's taken them long enough, and they've been dragging their fucking ass about it. So it's about time we're seeing some fruits of these labors. I have to be 100% honest. I'm not near as excited as I would have used to have been for this game after all the drudging they've done with side stories and shit. But my interest is rekindled, and that's the best you can say if you've kind of been worn out by it. But I will reserve any of this other speculation Jeff has been sending me throughout this.
I know, that's just for you.
Yeah. I heard that Axel thing too, though, by the way. We'll reserve the other speculation until we see more. But right now, the little taste they've given us looks good, but I gotta say that the key thing about that game, the combat, I'm a little worried about. A lot of those gimmicks were just garbage, and I really hope they've at least ironed out the problems with them. Flow motion, for instance, was way too easy.
Yeah,
to
that's
just accidentally
partially why
pop
I didn't
into.
like Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah. So, we'll see. You like Dream Drop Distance? Yeah. Sean says he's in the minority for enjoying Dream Drop Distance. I actually think even among Kingdom Hearts fans, he probably would be. I don't remember that game being very well received. But that was mostly of most of Square Enix's stuff. They didn't really have anything that wasn't already on the table at this point. We did see the PC conference. That was so lackluster I forgot about it, unfortunately. But
Good of them to try to put that in there, but I didn't think it fit.
I mean, the biggest things from the PC conference would have been probably not much, but the PC announcements for Gears of War Ultimate Collection, for No Man's Sky, and then for the little bit that Blizzard brought out, which Blizzard showed off some of the Heroes of the Storm stuff coming up. They're doing a Diablo-based expansion, so it's kind of basically becoming the World of Blizzard MOBA. Which is cool.
That's exactly what it is. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's the Eternal Conflict expansion coming out, and they have the Butcher and King Leoric and a couple other new ones.
The Monk class was also shown off.
They already had Joanna, they had Diablo,
Yeah.
they already had a few in the game, but they want to apparently focus more on it. And I've been playing the game, and the new arena looks really neat. I'm excited to play the new heroes.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I'm not a big MOBA fan, and to be honest, the one I got into was Smite. But this is definitely, for MOBA fans, for Blizzard fans, this is definitely a treat.
Yeah.
They also showed off the other part I wanted to mention before we got too far into either of these conversations about Heroes of the Storm. Or the other thing, they showed off StarCraft 2's Legacy of the Void and announced that the prologue missions before the actual release would be available to everybody, not just people who've pre-ordered or who are for sure buying Legacy of the Void. You're a StarCraft fan, you're getting the prologue missions for Legacy of the Void, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that was Blizzard's announcement, probably the highlight of the whole thing. Like I said, Heroes of the Storm is a solid game, and the what I saw for the new content looks very good. I don't think they're doing wrong with that. And StarCraft is StarCraft. I mean, you like it or you don't. There's no middle ground.
Yeah.
It's all good. Blizzard does good stuff.
But yeah, that was most of the major stuff. I mean, there's other stuff we could cover, and we might bring up some more things later.
There's Hearts of Iron 4 for Paradox.
I didn't even see that, man.
Yeah, I mean they were talking about it. I don't know if it's at E3, but I know Paradox was talking about it, and there's been some content creators that have kind of gotten their hands on it a little bit of Hearts of Iron.
You're talking about
4.
NL specifically.
Yeah, them. Arumba, of course. Quill.
Yeah.
They got the chance to mess with it.
Absolutely.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, there's some other. There's definitely a list of other games that were just on the floor that, there wasn't anything new announced. But that was the major press conference stuff and the major things that they're trying to get you excited about. I think on the whole, as an agreement across the board, we're pretty much in agreement that Fallout 4 and Star Wars Battlefront were probably the standouts of the whole thing. And No Man's Sky to an extent. Outside of that, everything was kind of here or there. The biggest announcement from a popularity standpoint would have definitely been Final Fantasy VII's remake, but I'm not ever going to count anything. I have nothing to go on, so it's cool, but see me in 5 years when you actually have something. And also, Shenmue 3 is great to hear that Shenmue 3 is finally coming. It's been a long time in development, or it attempted development, I should say. So, but again, no concreteness as much as I might actually care for that one. I can't put that on the board either. So from what we saw of real stuff, Fallout 4, Star Wars Battlefront, and No Man's Sky would probably be the biggest ones that we're actually all kind of have an interest in. So, we are at our time limit. I already have to cut this down anyway. At least the middle part where we fucked up. But, Roger, any final thoughts on anything else that I might have missed that you wanted to bring in real quick? We have a couple more minutes.
No, just give me some trading cards on Steam and we'll be good.
Jeff?
I don't have anything to say.
All right. Very well. Sean? Well, you still got to close out. They got to hear you one more time.
No. Well, pretty much everything touched on was good stuff.
Wait.
Zip it up.
Was that Roger?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Knights of Pen and Paper 2 is something Paradox was talking about at
Yeah.
E3.
Yeah, it's already out.
You should show it to Sean. Is it already out?
Yeah, I have.
That was coming soon.
I've had it on my phone for like a month, bro.
What? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming soon. 2?
No, probably the Steam version. That one's not out yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck you, Luke.
I'll explain it. Yep. Fuck you, buddy. Should've gotten a real phone. Anyway,
Easy now.
from all of us here at Filthy Casuals and the Royal Ramble, that was the really, really tightly condensed E3 stuff that we wanted to talk about, and of course the big ones hit. But yeah, we will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Well, actually, we did a little early this week, so it'll be
Same bad time, same bad channel.
there you go. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll close out with that. But thank you all for joining us, either here or on YouTube. Once again, we stream this podcast live from Roger's channel, as we're doing right now, which is twitch.tv/ggrogerv. And then you can also find me and Jeff streaming occasionally. Jeff at twitch.tv/subliminalseg. And I'm going to keep mispronouncing it because I hate you. And
You dick.
find me at twitch.tv/rockingmonk. I'll again supply those links in the description. And of course, if you're watching the stream, you can find us at youtube.com/special set of skills. Sorry. And then you can find the rest of our content there as well. So thank you for joining us for this. I hope we covered about everything everybody wanted to hear about. And we'll be keeping our ear to the grindstone for more upcoming news, but next week will probably be more of a return to form of the podcast as it has been. We'll try to integrate news a little more often, though, but this was the big one. So thank you.